Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to give you my top 9 reasons of why you shouldn't gamble. I'm going to start off with the risk of addiction. Gambling can lead to compulsive behaviors that are hard to control. In other words, for lack of a better word, chasing. Now I do have another video. I just released it last week on chasing and my thoughts of it. So after you're done watching this video, if you'd like, go ahead and watch that video, and I'll give you my opinion on chasing, because I believe every gambler chases in one way, shape, form, or of another. You're chasing. But that's my first reason. My second reason is relationship strain. Yes, I wrote these down, by the way. Gambling issues can harm relationships with family and friends. And I'm going to give you an example that I experienced myself with friendship and how it affected my friendship. I was a big horse player. Always went to the OTBs because that's all we had, as form of gambling that was legal, for most of my gambling career, unless you went to Vegas or Atlantic City. But there was a guy named Chuck at the OTB. We become really good friends. I knew this guy for at least 10 years. And we used to play, bets together. We do a lot of superfectas, trifectas and superfectas. And we just put our money together and play, whatever race we like, multiple races throughout the day. And we did this for probably 4 years. We'd win some and we'd lose a lot. We had some nice races, nice tickets, but there was this one particular race one day. And this was the day our friendship ended, and it's sad. But we got our numbers together, the horses we liked, what bet we was playing. It was a superfecta that day. And I forget the total amount that we had. It was probably like $80 to put in the race or whatever. And it was my job to put the horses in, to go actually up to the machine and the kiosk and play the race. And he gave me his horses. I had my horses. Well, come down to it, I end up not using, excuse me, I end up not using one of his horses by accident. Forgot to put it in on the ticket. Well, race goes off, and it was a 2. I'll never forget the number. It was a number 2. The 2 ends up hitting the try, or finishing third, finishing in the superfecta. And here he thinks we got it. I actually thought we got it because he was rooting it on. And then I looked at the ticket. He wasn't in there. He wasn't on the ticket. And all of a sudden, a big argument broke out. And I told him, I said, Chuck, from now on, I said, you play every damn ticket. He's like, no, I'll never play with you again, this, that, and the other, which so be it. We all make mistakes. But yeah, that was just one experience. I mean, it turned into a big argument for at least an hour until I ended up leaving. But yeah, it got ugly. But I've known this dude for several years, played many tickets together. And that was the end of it because one horse got left off. But yeah, that's my example of relationship strain. It can happen. Loss of productivity. It can interfere with work and other responsibilities. And I'm pretty sure every gambler's experienced this. You suffer a setback and you just can't get over it. And next thing you know, it controls your life for a couple of days. That's all you're thinking about is, oh man, I can't believe I blew that much money, or I was up that amount and I gave it all back, this, that, and the other, whatever. It affects you for a couple of days. Maybe you end up taking the next day off of work because of it. Matter of fact, I have a video on here about my little trip out to Wendover, Nevada, stopping at the Peppermill Casino, and I was on my way to San Francisco. I was a truck driver at the time. That affected my work because I ended up being late delivering that load on Monday. I was there the whole weekend. Yeah, I lost $250 over the whole weekend, was up a ton and gave it all back. But I ended up being late with my load, my delivery. So again, it affected my work. Just another example. Legal problems, Gamblers sometimes, they support their habit by doing illegal things, stealing, selling things they shouldn't be selling. I think you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, there's people out there that do it. May not be you, but there are people that do it. And who's to say you can't turn into one of them? I mean, it depends on your gambling history, how long you've been gambling. Not everybody's is born an addict, an addicted gambler. Like, I honestly can't even tell you when I became addicted, but I know I wasn't born one. It just evolved over time and became addicted. Did it for a very long time. But yeah, another example was financial exploitation. Vulnerable people that get targeted by scams or manipulated by gambling systems. And this is a big one. There's a lot of people on social media promoting gambling systems. It's all crap. It's all crap. But the mentality of a gambler is they want to believe. They want to believe that that is possible. Yeah, I mean, maybe here and there it is. Maybe you try that system and it works one time, or maybe it works the second time. But more times than not, it probably ain't working. You're probably losing. But that's just the mindset of a gambler, and it's hard to break. And it's hard for a gambler to admit it. That's the hardest thing. Gamblers are the hardest people to talk to and to talk about, because they get very, very defensive. They get upset. A lot of them will just deny it. But whatever. I mean, I've been in that boat many, many years. So, but yeah, be careful the schemes and the tips and the tricks. There is none. Odds are you're going to lose in the long run. You're losing. I guarantee most every gambler I know has lost over their lifetime and down a good bit. And that brings me to my next point: financial loss. Gambling can lead to significant monetary setbacks, debt, and financial instability. And there's a lot of people that gamble on credit. And that's no doubt the worst thing you could do. It's just taking money from your credit cards, a loan, whatever, and going and gambling on it. I know it may not be you, it probably ain't you, that's what I'm going to hear, but there's a lot of people that do it. Hell, I've done it at one point in my time. It's just not good, because more than likely you're going to lose that money, and now you have no way of paying it back, or you're going to work extra hard to pay it back. All right, here's another reason: illusion of control. This is a good one here, because I get this a lot in my comments. Oh, I have a system. Again, I have a bankroll system, this, that, and the other, and I can control myself. And when I get those, honestly, I believe that most of those gamblers are newer gamblers. And what I mean by newer gamblers, and I'm sorry to break your heart, but if you only been gambling a few years, you're a newer gambler. Father Time hasn't taught you yet. I mean, a lot of gamblers lose control. Now, I'm not saying there ain't none out there that spent 30, 40 years, 50 years gambling that was able to control it. But there's very few of them. Maybe you're one of them, but I'm going to highly doubt it. But if you are, I'm sorry. But there's a lot that haven't. Gambling promotes the false belief that winning is guaranteed or controllable, which can lead to reckless decisions. And there's a lot of people do it. And here's another one. Here's a big, big one. And this is why I think gambling is horrible. And a lot of people don't even realize it. And this is why I kind of frown on people that are promoting gambling on social media. It's the mental health issues that come with it. Gambling losses create stress, anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. And there's a lot of people that deal with it. Maybe you, maybe on a small amount, maybe a large amount. There's a lot of people. And sadly, as it's been stated in my comments, there's quite a few people that know people that have taken their own lives because of it. And it's sad. But gambling is promoted nowadays like it's candy, when it's no different than any other drug. Anything else that could be addicted that can ruin your life, alcohol, cigarettes, whatever, it's the same to me. It does the same thing over time. It can destroy you. It can destroy your life, ruin your life, and end up taking your life or somebody else's life because you're so distraught over what you've done. So again, may not be you, but there's a lot of people that go through it and do it. To me, gambling is just horrible, and I did it for a very long time. I wish I never did, but I did. And then we got false hope and delusion. Gambling can foster unrealistic expectations about winning leading to disappointment, financial aid or ruin. Again, it just I blame this a lot on the influencers. There's a lot of people that just push it and push it and push it, and they're making money. I mean, if that's how they want to make money, that's fine. But I frown upon it. I've seen too many. I've experienced it. I've never gone to the extent that I gave everything away. I still have my house. I still have my family. I still have my vehicles. I still have my life. But there's some people that just they don't know when to stop. Fortunately for me, I realized my stopping point. Sadly, it took me 35 years. I wish it only took me one, but no, it took me 35. But that's my whole point of these videos. That I just want to bring awareness to this. I mean, it's a sickness. It's an illness. It's an addiction, just like drugs, alcohol, smoking, anything else in life. But with gambling, there's no effect right away. Like while you're doing it over time. It's not like a drug or alcohol that it makes you pass out or messes you up to where you stop. At least for a day or two because you feel like shit. It's just a sickening disease that a lot of people get, and some people just never get help for it until it's too late. But that's all I have for today. If you're interested in seeing any of my other videos, they're on my playlist. I'll leave a link in the description if I remember to the video from last week about chasing losses and the reality of them, because everybody's chasing. If you're gambling and you've been gambling for a while, you're chasing your losses. I don't care what anybody says. As long as you're down, you're chasing. But that's all I got for today. So if you like the video, hit that like. That's all I got though. But until then, I'll see you in the next one.